Welcome back to another video on Bible prophecy. Matt Wilson here, and this presentation's on the second coming of Jesus. Will you pass the test? Now, before we start, when the Bible harps, now I'm saying here severe warning. When the Bible harps, you better stop everything and pay attention. Failure to heed this warning could lead to injury, death, or more. So I'm thinking about two harping points that I know really kind of bugged me a lot. One is about the return of Jesus, and the other is do not be deceived. It's just, to me, it was just all this harping all the time, just on and on. But the problem is, well, they just aren't clear. What are you talking about? It's just this unclarity about these really kind of bothered me, so I really spent a lot of time on them. And then what I learned was they're unclear because they're a test, okay? And so Jesus wants to see, will you pass the test, basically? And so that's what's going on. So we need to dig into these a little bit more. So now here, neither the day nor the hour, Matthew 25:13, watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man is coming. And then, of course, well, watch for what? Well, watch for the return of Jesus. Yeah, but what's the big deal? I mean, he's the good guy, right? Why do I need to be so concerned? And then also, I don't really need to watch until the Antichrist arrives, right? I mean, nothing's going to happen, and then the Antichrist will arrive, and then I need to be concerned. And also, wait a minute, doesn't Jesus come back at the very end during the Battle of Armageddon? So yeah, I don't know the day nor the hour, but I can watch for a few things like the Antichrist and the Battle of Armageddon, and I'll know that his return is near. But yet the Bible kind of leads me in a different direction. So again, no one knows the day or the hour, but of that day and hour no one knows, not even the angels of the heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so also will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in the days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. And they did not know until the flood came and took them all away. So will the coming of man, or the coming of the Son of Man be. Again, weird language. What does that even mean? More harping, more weirdness. So here, but as the days of Noah were, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. Okay. So we know that Jesus returns at the end of the tribulation period. Most of the planet is wiped out. Almost no Christians will be left. People are going to probably be heavily focused on basic survival. Yet, according to Matthew 24:38, for as in the days before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered the ark. In other words, they had no idea that there was a problem. But yet, this is supposed to be at the end of the tribulation period where most of the planet's wiped out. How could they be completely oblivious to this? So there is a serious disconnect between reality and what this is telling us. So, yeah. So that's like a warning flag. Okay, something's not right. Let's continue. So, again, now take a look at this. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and the other left. Now, in your heart that you want to be taken. Yes, Jesus, come and take me. I guess what? Is that the rapture? Take me. But now let's continue. Watch therefore, for you do not know what hour the Lord is coming. Okay. Watch, but I don't know what that means really. Now this is where it gets interesting, but know this, that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. So in other words, well, Jesus is the thief. So if you knew when the thief was coming, you would stop him. This is telling you, don't let Jesus come into your house. Don't let Jesus take you away. That's what this is telling us. So just a minute ago, you knew in your heart that you wanted to be taken away, right? Like one of the men here, one of the women here. But now this is telling you, well, no, you don't want to be taken away by Jesus. Again, more disconnect. So then again, doesn't Jesus return 7 years after the Antichrist appears, or 42 months after the abomination that causes desolation, when the Antichrist sets himself up as ruler in God's temple? Or doesn't he come during the Battle of Armageddon? So then I ask the question, well, what if return doesn't mean what you think it means? What if return really means all the stuff that's going to happen shortly before Jesus actually returns? So in other words, during the end time period, which I'm defining as, maybe about 100 years in that somewhere around there, things start happening that catch us off guard, that we're not ready for. These are bad things where you're going to die. And so we are to watch for the return of Jesus and know that shortly before he gets here, we're going to be vulnerable to things that are going to take us away, and by that I mean kill us. So that is my assumption. So when you assume that, then suddenly everything starts to make a lot of sense. Everything they're telling us seems to make a lot more sense. So here, right, so the thief is some kind of an event. Now I think it's mostly going to be like a nuclear attack. So that you basically watch for the return of Jesus, which we are doing, and I suspect that he'll be here probably by 2050. So we're watching, and then know that now we need to watch for events that we could be vulnerable to, that could kill us. And let me continue on here. So the next one. Now, what events? Well, the seals. Okay, when Jesus says watch, he means watch for things like this. Jesus opens the seals that lay waste to the planet. Revelation 5:2. And then I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and to loosen its seals?" And then Revelation 5:8. You, meaning Jesus, are worthy to take the scroll and to open the seals. And so then these things, the seals, that start to lay waste to the planet, these things will happen shortly, within 100 years, before the actual return of Jesus. These things happen when you do not expect them. Okay, so how does that work? So basically, if you look at my other presentations on the seals, you will understand that there are going to be signs that we need to look for that show you when you are going to be vulnerable to a nuclear attack. So you don't have to be caught off guard, but what you have to understand is that you have to watch for the return of Jesus, and that know that things are going to happen before he gets here when you don't expect them, like right now, like you're vulnerable right now. So let's continue. So now here's another one, the day of the Lord. But concerning the times and seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write to you, for you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then suddenly destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman. And they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, so that day should not overtake you as a thief. So when you hear things like the day of the Lord, and you're thinking, oh, it's the day the Lord comes back. No, it's not. The day of the Lord is not about the return of the Lord. It's about destruction that the Lord unleashes. Now here are some Bible verses about the day of the Lord. Now I took it from this particular source, okay, and they have 86 of them, but I just took a few. Just want you to understand what the day of the Lord means. Behold, the day of the Lord is coming, cruel with fury and burning anger, to make the land a desolation. And this one, for the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near. It will be a day of clouds, a time of doom for the nations. And then this one, alas, you are longing for the day of the Lord. Yeah, you're longing for the day that Jesus returns, right? But the day of the Lord is, for a day of destruction. For what purpose will the day of the Lord be to you? It will be darkness and not light, as when a man flees from a lion and a bear meets him, or goes home, leans his hand against the wall, and a snake bites him. Will not the day of the Lord be darkness instead of light, even gloom with no brightness in it? So the day of the Lord is just representation of events that are going to happen before the return of Jesus. And it's going to be a very bad day. And there are many of them. Just like there are many seals, it's not just one day of the Lord, there's a whole bunch of them. So you need to watch. So the conclusion is the return of Jesus is not about the return of Jesus. The day of the Lord is not about the return of Jesus. No, they're about the obliterations that will start shortly before Jesus returns. By shortly, I mean within 100 years. So what do you watch for? You watch for a shock, generally a nuclear shock, and ask, could I be vulnerable to retaliation? Okay? So guess what? America is currently vulnerable to nuclear defeat by Russia and China. So now, what do you hear? You hear that, this is just about impossible, except maybe via some kind of accident or miscalculation that escalates, right? And then we need to be worried about that. But what Jesus is telling us is, no, it won't be by accident or miscalculation that escalates. It will come out of the blue and just surprise everybody. And so, but you don't have to be surprised. So for example, what I explain in my Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse is that when Israel nukes its neighbors, that by the following spring, in retaliation, America will fall because of an attack by Russia and China. And so you saw a shock. So here Israel attacks its neighbors, and then could I be vulnerable to retaliation? Well, if Israel attacks its neighbors, could America suffer retaliation? And you can say yes. Okay, and then you know that you've got to get out of America or prepare for nuclear war. Now, what is everybody else going to be saying? Everybody else is going to be saying, well, yes, we could, but, that'll destroy the planet, so it'll never happen. No, it won't destroy the planet. Okay, and it will happen. It'll happen suddenly, at night while you're sleeping. And it'll catch everybody by surprise, except it shouldn't catch you by surprise because I just explained it to you. So now when you look at this return of Jesus thing in light of what I just said, kind of all the harping makes sense, and they're testing you. Okay, so now you know. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.